of racial integration in California, ladies and gentlemen, forced integration, which means in schools you have Latinos, blacks, Asians, ladies and gentlemen, and they get to see each other and and mingle and play with them, and don't see each other as others, but just that they have shared humanity, ladies and gentlemen, for this better better racial relations, and the tension isn't actually there. But comparatively, let's take a look at what opposition bench is doing. They said, let's change the mindset. But how exactly are they going to change the mindset? They only said that let's just stick with status quo. But if you think that status quo is the source of the problem, then why are you going to advocate it, ladies and gentlemen, to begin with? The first thing that they said is that black cops will just be seen as enemies. We say that white cops are already seen as enemies already, right? Which is the status quo. So the question here is likelihood, right? In which paradigm will actually, will the policemen be looked as somebody who is friends or allies with them, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's true that probably not in all situations black people will be seen as, as friends or allies with them. We say that likelihood is actually better in our side because of the existence of the affinity, of the shared characteristics, of the shared history and culture, ladies and gentlemen. These are things that are taken into account in a snap judgment on a blink of an eye, ladies and gentlemen, members of this debate. Things are not present if the person is actually a white person, ladies and gentlemen, members of today's debate. But the second thing that they actually said is that they said that, there will be a backlash against affirmative action because they will just have petty jobs. And yes, DY, I'm hitting on you. Okay, so the first response against this is blacks. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Blacks can get high positions too on merit, right? We never said that we're just gonna take in just because they're black. There obviously, there will be qualifications we'll have it. But even if, for example, they will just get petty jobs, we say, again, it's a question of likelihood. The likelihood of changing mind is still higher in our side. Because while it's true that initially they will be treated coldly, once they spend more time as comrades, for example, they attend more holiday parties, they visit each other in hospitals, or probably took a bullet, ladies and gentlemen, for this person in one of their operations, we do think that affinity will eventually be developed, ladies and gentlemen. They will see the person, not just as a black person, but somebody who's just like them, ladies and gentlemen, and have a better understanding of the black culture at the end of the day. Let's address a couple of responses. I got a couple of arguments coming from them. Ladies and gentlemen, when dealing with the second issue, how do you make the community trust them anyway, right? We say that you address the problems of retaliation, of cop killings, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing that we said is that there's affinity, right? The visceral impact of this is very strong. That's the reason why you have, affirmative action in schools, right? The state understands, ladies and gentlemen, and is willing to do something about the problem. So that's the reason why we do think that it's particularly good. But secondly, the second thing that we talk about is the idea of alliance, where you humanize the police force. Before they only see these, police force as white supremacists, for example, just simply carrying guns. But now at least you're challenging that kind of depiction or that stereotype. The response is coming from their side. First is that they will be viewed as traitors. We say, no, that's not true. Because police officers are simply doing their duty, ladies and gentlemen, members of today's debate. That in fact they can actually, which is more important, and they're challenging the idea that black people, cannot be police officers to begin with, ladies and gentlemen, which actually resonates with a lot of individuals. Well, it's true. Probably, some extreme people will think that they are traitors. We say that what is the likelihood of that compared to the number of black kids, for example, who will look up these policemen and see that in the future they can also be like them, ladies and gentlemen. So you challenge that. But the second thing that they said is that they're all going to get incompetent people. That's not true. Look at our model. We told you that we're going to get qualified people, ladies and gentlemen, out of meritocracy, right? And the next thing they said is that because they're going to lose fairness, because they feel like they're going to be advocates. Firstly, why is that not particularly bad? But secondly, checks and balances will still exist. We told you about instances, for example, they're going to wear body bags, right? Think camera bags, for example, body cameras, right? Or probably, there will still be representation of white people there, ladies and gentlemen, which will actually make them sure that they will act fairly. But more importantly, if they are advocates, they know that they have to be credible. They know that they have to act not out of unfairness, but they actually have to stick with what the law actually says. That's the best way for them to be an advocate. Therefore, that's the reason why we do think that that's going to happen. But secondly, a couple of things that believe said is that there will be small minority representation. We say no, it's nitpicking. And then they said that 80% is actually white, and that therefore there wouldn't be any effect. Again, it's a question of likelihood, ladies and gentlemen. What if 80% of the community is black, right? Therefore there will be 80% of the people of the police force who will also be black. Are you telling me then that in that particular context, our proposal is effective? We say it is effective, and in both cases we win, you know, like in both situations we win today's debate. That's obvious. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 32 seconds. I thank the government speaker. Now I'd like to call upon opposition group speaker from the podium.
Yes, Victor, it is indeed a racial discrimination issue. But when the LGBT community first came out, then they wanted equality, so they wanted marriage too. They were fed up with the idea that LGBT is different, so we treat them differently and give them civil unions, right? It is a racial discrimination issue. That's why we should stop discriminating, but rather, instead of saying that we should segregate them completely. The burden of the opposition team is not to defend status quo as stagnant, right? What we propose on the our side is that we should be supporting everything else that Victor, not the other Victor, the PM said, right? After he proposed the policy, we're gonna support body cams, and we're gonna have all those kind of regulations. The pure fact that the government whip came up and talked about how there has been a report of excessive violence and it created a lot of social disruption about it means that we are already having huge support for fairer law enforcement. We support that kind of non-discriminatory policies, right? And moving on to their ideas of, okay. I'm going to go to the first question of which team creates safe communities, right? In the context of inviolent and very volatile regions that they talked about, it is usually the racial gangs that fight and create those kind of volatilities, right? But even if it is, okay, we've told you from the second speaker that in those cases, that it's realistic that there will be infiltrations that already happens in the cycle where they become snitches and they pull out information from the police operations and make them, distrustworthy. This actually lowers the amount of security you have in that region. There was no response whatsoever coming from the government. You actually didn't do that, right? But even under the government's best case scenario, right? We don't see just because they're the same race, same amount of trust happens and police do fist bumps with each other, right? Because like according to them, they see police and themselves as the enemy. So if they apply for it and they join it, they're seen as basically sellouts and turncoats for the white pigs because their sentiment is that these white people are the rulers, right? Yeah. Because we told you, if they have to go with their context of, they mistrust the police already, then what happens when they enter is this, right? When they first enter, they told us qualifications. They didn't properly rebut our deputy leader of operations case, where obviously if you're going to have a higher quota, then you need to have some kind of lower standard. But we tell you again, qualification doesn't really matter, as our leader of operations told you. Because when you first come in, you're a newbie with no experiences, and in a hierarchical society, you have to do as, like you said, wise superiors tell you to. So when you give them directives, mind you, not laws, but directives to do something, like there is something that is against the race and you beat them up more, then you can't really say no. You can't create kind of social structures, right? That's why, look, for police, that's why it's going to create more problems of turncoat imaging because police workers are not people like social service workers as government team tried to propose. Police officers necessarily will have to go and shoot other black people, beat up other black people and arrest them. This kind of images is going to be what is sent out. So that's why there won't be role models as to seen as justice of our society. But we also told you that when it comes to their case of, yeah, we're going to need Muslim specialists and women specialists, they are exactly that, specialists. We need specialist training so that you can talk to them on gender-based violence and stuff. And you actually have, like, of very few members. You don't need to have a whole lot of foot patrol to actually go around and do undercover work. If you're going to do blacks or black, you know, if you're black, so you infiltrate black communities and do undercover work. That's just the case of few communities. That's why half of your speech regarding Muslim women special needs aren't really pertaining to the case of today's debate, where majority of the, or very big portion of police officers are going to be replaced here, right? Khan also did not replace, no, thank you. Khan also did not rebut to our case about snitching at all. She just said that, she basically conceded and said that, look, but vigilantism is going to be on the worst side, under our side of the house. But that's, again, not our basic burden to prove in this debate. Why is that? Because at their best case scenario, even if it does work, and now race was indeed absolutely important factor in handing out justice, then this is going to be how people perceive it. Oh, look, there was injustice everywhere, we couldn't fix it, but then we switched the black guys to the policemen, we switched the white policemen into the black officers, and now we solved the problem. This further pushes sentiment upon the rest of our society that indeed it is black gangs shooting each other, should be there with the black people, and that has nothing to do with white people. It pushes the sentiment for the black people as well, that you cannot trust white police officers because we tried this for everyone, but basically this is very, very impossible. So you need to talk to a black officer. But what they told us about, like black people getting law enforcement, this is not going to be possible either, because you have 20% on your force maybe, but when a scene of a crime happens and there's a patrol car going nearby, then actually that patrol car is going to be dispersed. It's very hard to imagine a scenario where you're going to have every crime scene by the certain, Latino or black people or whatever, are going to have matching police forces, even if they work 24/7 on site, because it's usually them creating the crimes in the first place, right? So you need to answer when Kyle talked about, okay, so there are mechanisms. They're going to be, first open to the police more, and then slippery slope mechanism. They're going to trust the police. They're not trusting the police. They are trusting the black people, because it has been shown that indeed it was the black people that made it safer under the best case scenario. That's why you actually have more things like vigilantism and more things like police shooting under your side of the house. Because now the idea of trusting the badge and uniform doesn't make sense. You needed to trust the race from all along. That's the message you're sending out on your side of the house. Yeah?
So if you agree with other things we said, like having cameras and police badges, what is the likeliness of Moonyeol's argument of black police officers being unfair to black people and being brothers happen in your case?
We think it's mutually exclusive under your case, because now you're saying that, we don't need these kind of movements, we don't need to be fair about the law, because we just need to put black people to take care of black business and Latino people to take care of Latino gangs. Because of that, that's why you're undermining the rest of our movement, where we have less discrimination under our side, right? But anyways, going back, we have heard no response whatsoever from Victor either about our ideas of how, even if you have capacities to contribute to, even if you have capacities, then that's not necessarily qualifications and capacity. That doesn't necessarily help you become heroes and role models, because that's another mechanism that they push for, right? But in order to become a role model and a hero, and like you said, take a bullet in the back, you need to be trusted. You need to have those hierarchy or superior office saying, oh, you go on this operation where you crack down on a gang. But if these people are already racist like you depict, then they will be given less jobs. They will not be put to trust a guy in a gunfight, because these people cannot be trusted according to you. Then these people's ideas of chance for promotion goes down, and they will be treated as second-class policemen. When Kang also told you about that, we're gonna have all those people holding hands with each other, and then this is going to create a perfect imagery, like Victor Junbin Yun said. Then this also doesn't make sense either, because people will see that it was the government that forced them to be there, and that's why they are necessarily there, and they're all doing the petty footwork jobs while the white men are doing their directors. That's why they, the realistic case scenario is not their best case scenario, but the one where they see them as turncoats rather, right? But this is why it actually undermines the kind of role models we already have. We told you that 15 to 16% of police officers are black, and they are trying to achieve things in our society already. But you undermine that because now you're overflooding them with a black cop's image of that being a person taking the white person's orders, right? So in these cases, we think that our team provided you with a fairer policy. We think that gender discrimination, same thing with gender discrimination, racial discrimination should not stand in any kind of job offerings. And especially in this case, you're undermining the safety of those communities. That's why we're very proud to oppose in this motion.
Speakers for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Now I call upon the reply speaker from opposition.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As a reply speaker, I'm going to be slightly technical. I'm going to point out as a biased adjudicator on what points the government team missed and what points the opposition team did significantly better than the government team, and why in a holistic comparison of the cases of the government team's simplistic case and opposition's more in-depth analysis, why we take this debate home. Now, first of all, first starting as a good reply should on the principle level. Now, our Prime Minister, our leader of opposition, has told you that discrimination is not justified when discrimination takes place based on gender or religion. And especially as they characterize, when these police forces are people that use brute force upon the citizens, and when interaction with the civilians is very important, then public trust and democratic legitimacy is extremely important to these police forces in the first place. But we think that when the government team is supporting a constitution-defined policy, when it gets rid of these discrimination on an unjustified biases and imposes that upon the police force, we think that the police forces lose their justification, this unjustified policy in the first place. But on the principle level, no response whatsoever comes from the government team, so they already lose the debate. But to give them the benefit of the doubt, let me go on to the practical levels, right? So what's going to happen to the police force once we implement this policy? Now, because there's going to be lack of qualification, as Gaeun conceded to, there's going to be a divide within the police forces. Why? Because they perceive these minority police officers as inferior, or sometimes they're going to doubt that they have an ulterior motive. But no response whatsoever coming from the government team once again. And we also talk about the abuse of power and bribery being possible. The only response is that, because now they're police officers, they're going to be responsible. See how simplistic that is? The response that we provided you was that no, because these people are full of spite, these people are full of acknowledgement that inequality has been existed, and these unqualified people it's more likely that they will be able to control their emotions. It's very unlikely they will be able to adhere to the legal protocols and responsibilities of the police officers, and we're going to see vigilantism. We're going to see, even in the worst case scenarios, abuse of power, bribery, and even infiltration of the forces by gang members. No response once again comes from the government side. And furthermore, the case of the government team entirely was mingle, right? Police are going to mingle amongst other police. Police are going to mingle with the population. But they never tell us how a strictly proportional population is going to help that mingling. And on top of that, they really never tell us the solvency on how this mingling is going to happen. They simply assume it. And how this mingling is going to change into long-term benefits, right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, their policy was that when we're executing justice, black criminals we're going to meet black officers. And hijab criminals are going to meet hijab officers. But first of all, we don't think that proportional representation is necessary for that in the first place. And secondly, their only good characterization was about heat of the moment, right?